tell us about yourself and how you came to Lake Michigan angling.
Well, I started off, I primarily kayak fish Lake Michigan. It's kind of my niche here. And Rob's been so kind of like the OG in the kayak fishing in Lake Michigan, and he's been like a fishing mentor. I met him early on when I was kind of getting started, and came here. He rigged me up, early on. Jerry threw him and all the guys, and then just over the years, we just formed a friendship through fishing, and then he took over ownership. So like 3 years now, Jerry?
Yeah, 2. He's been here 2.
Yeah, and it just kind of aligned. COVID had happened. My career shifted, so. When I talked to Rob, he told me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm taking over the shop now." And I said, "Man, let's do stuff. Let's take this to the next level." And so yeah, I've been here helping him out with social media, content, podcast, and our vision and goal has just been to educate the anglers here. As you talked about, there's so many people that are coming into it from the walleye fishing scene or the bass fishing scene inland. They got their deep V boats or whatever boat, and they want to bring it out here. And we've just seen this uptick, and that was really what got us started into, really providing value to people through the content and educating them. So when they come here, I can't tell you how many people come here and they're like, I need the right setup. I bought my stuff from X, Y, Z place, and it's not working and all this stuff. And we'll get them the right stuff right off the bat, which down the road saves them money because they're not buying random stuff. We're saying, hey, you just need this, this, and this. That's all you really need. You don't have to necessarily break the bank. So it's been great. I'm very passionate about the fishing community, about growing it. It's done so much for me, and I love to see others kind of enjoy what it is that we have out here. It's an excellent fishery. I know we talked off of the podcast just comparing salmon fishery from here to some other places, and we really have a good. I know Jerry. I mean, we are very fortunate in the kind of salmon fish we have here. 5 fish limits and 3 rods, and other places it's not like that. It can be very, very tough. So we're very lucky.
Yeah, this has got to be pretty exciting. I mean, this is something in what you guys do, and we're in this room here that's a seminar room, and I was telling Rob when I came here today, I'm like, you don't go into a lot of bait shops that have this kind of square footage dedicated to this. You guys have kind of built a mini studio here to do this. You guys are kind of doing things that other people aren't doing in this business. It's got to be exciting to kind of be innovators and to just kind of be given the reins and like, hey, let's try these things. What's that like for you?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to when Rob and I had just came off the water. He was just driving by Kenosha, and when he told me the news, and that's what started this whole collaborative thing with him and I. My career prior to all of this was in broadcast radio and in media. So I just basically took what I did in that career and applied it to the fishing industry. I think, and you probably experienced this too, the fishing industry kind of has, generally speaking, lagged behind in terms of like getting out in front of the digital world compared to other industries. And it's good now that it's coming into the fray of things. If you look across it, with fishing creators and brands now getting real strong digital footprints. That was the idea was to bring us into the future. I think it's very important, and especially being a small business, a mom and pop shop was kind of what I think most people refer to the shop as. About having a footprint, making sure people know you're here, what you offer, providing value, and earning their trust. It goes a long way. I think this is any business. You earn that trust from your customers, and they will come to you every time for business and for your assistance. And we strive to do that and provide all the kind of content and everything in that way.
Yeah. So. One of the things that you guys do that's really outside the ordinary is you do a podcast on YouTube, and it's really good. I mean, you guys do a nice job, and you've got some great guests on, and you ask a lot of great questions. I think there's a lot of topics too that people are interested in. How did that come about?
So, thank you, by the way, and I love yours. I know I told you I've watched all your stuff as well. So I love to see all of our Great Lakes based content out there. I consume all of it, but That really came down to, like fishing here, we're very seasonal, in the Midwest. You only, so for salmon fishing, which we're a salmon fishing specialty store, right? From May till about the end of the King run, let's say once October hits, that's kind of before and after that, it kind of lulls. And we're like, well, what can we do to still stay in touch with our audience, with our customers? How can we garner new people in? And Rob and I said, let's do a podcast. It's the off season. It's probably a lot easier for us to get a hold of the captains and all the other brands and businesses to get them in. Because during the busy season, everyone's busy doing their stuff. We jumped into it. We did it. If you see the first season of the episode, the podcast, the background's very different. And then going into this season, we changed up the whole wall. We started to turn this space into a multi-function room where we have the seminars, yet we have this, which is cool because now like we can host you and you're able to come utilize our space, which is great. It was the idea of how can we stay in contact with people, get them excited, keep them engaged over the off season. Not everybody ice fishes. I personally can't stand the cold, so I don't fish. I go dormant. But having a podcast allows us to stay connected and keep people excited, looking forward to the next season.
Very good. Just tell us about kind of where you see that going. I mean, you guys started on YouTube. I was talking to you guys today about you got to get your show out on Apple Podcasts. You got to get your show out on Spotify. Where do you guys see that show going?
Good question. You're not the first that's mentioned it. That's something we can easily do. It's just a matter of pulling the audio and getting it up there. So we'll have to do that. I think the goal is simply just to for that podcast to just be a outlet for people to gather that information, be a hub, to utilize it to network with other anglers and captains. Ideally, it'd be great to start expanding and having captains from other parts of Lake Michigan, and maybe in fact expand a little bit broader than that. Although that might change from the whole Lake Michigan angler thing, which is kind of the core concept, but it would be definitely cool to get to the Michigan side of the angling base and touching with them. I know we briefly, we're gonna try to make something happen with Real to Real Outdoors. Enjoy their stuff. Shout out to them, and we're hopefully we'll connect via the timing thing. But it'd be cool to just collaborate more and just kind of grow it into a place where people just go to it for the information they're looking for to help them out.
Yeah, and the reason we're doing this, and you and I were talking about this earlier today, the reason we're doing this is to grow the sport.
Yeah.
We want to see more people get into fishing. So how do we do that other than podcasts? What are some things that you think that the industry and people like us and maybe charter captains and maybe manufacturers, what do we need to do as an industry as a whole to continue to grow the sport?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question, one that Rob and I have talked about plenty of times. When it comes to salmon fishing specifically, I think it's just a matter of accessibility. Unlike other types of fishing, when we look at salmon fishing, there can be a higher level barrier to entry. You need a boat. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it from shore. You absolutely can, but that depends on the season. You have opportunities in the fall and the winter where you can do it. You can do well from shore. But just generally speaking, when you look at salmon fishing, there's a thing about boats, and that requires disposable income. So I think for us, what we can do is to try to make it more accessible to folks that want to get into it, and whether that's through things like we see the increase in kayak fishing, because that's a little bit more accessible. It's easier to spend to buy a 3 to 5K kayak perhaps than a 35. Well, that's probably on the low end, but like a very nice boat with a Tiero that might be exponentially more. I think we just need to make it more accessible, and how to go about that just may depend on various things, but I think the idea is just making it more accessible, informing people and showing them what you can get out here, how to do it. And I think if we give them the right information, so that if they do go out and they didn't catch 10 fish, they caught one nice king, a nice 10-pounder. that gets them excited enough to come back and like, all right, I want to invest more in this because I got to see like what this is, you know. I think once it happens, people will get hooked. We're seeing it a lot with customers that come in that I said that are coming from a different fishing kind of world. They go out and they catch their first coho or their first whatever fish, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so cool!" You know, never mind that I grinded it out for like 8 hours that day, but like I got a fish. And they come back and they're like, "All right, I'm ready for more. Like, what's the next thing I need to do? What's the next setup? Where do I need to go?" And so just giving people the information and the knowledge so they can go out, get hooked on it, and I think that'll go a long way to grow it, because right now we need more younger people in the salmon fishing industry. This, you know, we're seeing some trickle in, so I think the more that we can do to just get those folks, you know, steal them away from the bass side, perhaps, you know, come out to the salmon side, and you know, the great thing is, whatever you catch, you take home and eat.
Yeah.
It's good table fare. This coho in the spring are excellent table fare. Spring kings are excellent as well. So, yeah, we just got to kind of get them hooked in, basically.
Jerry, do you have something for Mike?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to the page you created, Lake Michigan Kayak Angler, or
Kayak fishing.
Kayak fishing. Yeah. And you see a lot of the new guys getting into the sport. On the boat side, we have the Winthrop Harbor, Waukegan fishing reports, which we really try to put as much information as possible in there. But what I know I've noticed you've done is you've also taken, you know, you've mentored a lot of the new kayak guys out there. You've taken them out and fished with them and showed them the ropes. And you've been really successful at getting those guys dialed in.
Yeah, I'll kind of share this. Not that what I'm doing is anything out of the ordinary. They do it in other industries, but coaching.
Yes.
Right? You want to be good at basketball, soccer, you put your kids in sports. Well, you want to get better, what do? You pay for a coach to coach them through, to teach them the fundamentals, to give them confidence, and then you set them loose into the world. So, I do my kayak fishing thing. I also take guys out. Call it guided, but it's more coaching because they're in their own kayak. I'm not doing the stuff for them. I will coach them through, this is how you might set your stuff up, do this, do this. I think that's a real opportunity that I think other anglers, whether they're charters, it's stuff that I talked with Captain Dan Keating about way back ago. I was like, hey man, you should do coaching, and he's doing it as well. I think those individuals that are seasoned veteran salmon anglers offer coaching. You know, it helps tremendously to give guys confidence in their boat. Go on their small boat and have, you know, review their setup, offer advice on how they might want to place their stuff up, and go out for a trip with them and help give them that confidence. I think that will, again, speak to like how you get them hooked in. If they have a little bit of direction, go on the water with them, give them that confidence, and they can use that. You know, it's that old analogy. You take a person to fishing for the day, you teach them how to fish, they can fish for life. It's literally the same concept. And I think coaching is a great outlet for many of us that are, again, in the charter space or whatever, that if you have that proper licensing, I guess, you know, depending on where you're at, to do that and help these guys out. Yeah.
Mike, it's been a great night. Really appreciate you hosting us here today. Is there something you want to talk about before we wrap up, before we let everybody go?
No, just I love what you're doing. Thank you for coming here. Keep it up. I said I consume all the salmon fishing content around the Great Lakes, and you've been great. So excited to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you for Fish Hawk support in our first tournament. We're excited about this one, and then leading into next year to expand it, and we hope to have you guys involved in that. And if you guys watching ever need anything, whether it's gear, information, some guidance, you can always stop by the store. Our YouTube channel is a great resource. We team up with various captains. In fact, one of our biggest videos is with this guy right here for small boats.
He's a star.
And we do have a small boat video install. We did an install video for a Fish Hawk on his small boat with, what's different about it is that we did an install and you have a kicker on yours. So we have a video coming out.
Talked about it, Chris.
Yeah, we have a video coming out next week. So for those of you that are getting a Fish Hawk or on the verge of getting one, have a small boat with a kicker, step by step. This guy knows his stuff, and it's gonna be a nice video. So feel free to check out our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, check that out. Also, when we ship these things, we put a book in there. It tells you right where to put it. So it says manual on it. Don't be afraid. You can open it up and it'll tell you exactly where to put it.
I think most people see that on.
I know. I did ask
It just trying to. Yeah.
And that's what I did. I asked him a question, and I'm like, oh, here's the book. Oh, okay, 1/8. Never mind.
We put it right in there how to do it. So
I'm gonna have to make a couple of edits on that part, but it should be good. Yeah.
Like, let me send him a text.
all right.
Oh, here it is.
From Lake Michigan Angler, thanks so much for everybody watching.